Safest countries or places to be if we were to have a nuclear fallout. Let's face it here. With the triggers of the Third World War on the rise in recent times, it's only a matter of time before things get pretty serious and dangerous. Nations and their allies are moving up on enemy nations, and it seems we are all looking down the barrel of an all-out nuclear war. We don't want it, but what if it happens? Is there a safe place you could go with your family and lay low until all the dust settles? Somewhere so isolated and uninteresting that it won't qualify as a target? Well, there is, and we're going to be sharing some of them with you in today's video. While we hope there's never a cause for us to move from the comfort of our homes to a foreign land because our lives and properties are at risk, here are the safest places to add to your bucket list should there be a nuclear fallout. Aside from being ranked as number 1 on the list of countries on the list of Global Peace Index, Iceland, a small country located in the North Atlantic Ocean, made it to our list of one of the safest places to be when the world descends into chaos because of a ton of other reasons. Firstly, Iceland, as we've mentioned earlier, is separated from the rest of the world by the North Atlantic Ocean. This reduces the chances of nuclear missiles hitting the country without being detected. It's also 1,000 miles away from the United Kingdom and the rest of Europe, which means that the country won't be facing any form of direct attack during the war. Iceland is blessed with abundant marine resources that will allow it to be self-sufficient in the event of fallout. Being self-sufficient means that Iceland could stay out of the war and still keep its inhabitants safe, fed, and happy without imploring assistance from other countries. While there might be some parts of Iceland that are dry and almost completely arid, there is an abundance of sea resources and fresh water in major areas of the land. Although the best place to stay is along the coast, where there is an abundance of seafood and other resources, you could also stay near the mountains, where resources are not so available, but you can be sure the mountains would provide the perfect hideout and shield you from harm's way even if the country was to face attacks. The best part of being in Iceland in times of global war is that the country gets all of its energy from renewable sources located within the country. They have machines that harness geothermal energy and then convert it to electricity and heat. While other countries would have to search out alternative means of getting energy, like coal and oil, Iceland would rely on its geothermal energy. But with all these endowments, Iceland would quickly become very overpopulated should a nuclear fallout happen, right? Not quite. The current population of the country puts an average of 8 people per square mile. This means that there would be plenty of room for refugees should things go south. However, the downside is that winters are really long in Iceland and could stretch into summertime. So, if you love sunbathing and wearing a jacket so dearly, then you might want to consider another place like Fiji Island. Fiji Island is located in the southwestern part of the Pacific Ocean. This place is definitely not a bad choice of a place to wait out the war for so many reasons. The closest country to this island is Australia, and it's almost 1,700 miles away. It's very likely that if war breaks out, Australia will be at the bottom of a very long list of targets. Even if the fight eventually reaches Australia, you won't even be able to hear gunshots or war sounds because you would be so far away. More so, I don't think anyone has the time or resources to waste on dropping nukes on an isolated island. Beautiful beaches and abundant sea resources are not really what warheads are after in times of war, which is why it's up here on our list of one of the safest countries you could go to in times of war. While Fiji's economy depends majorly on tourism and sugar export, both of which would be cut down in the event of war, the island is rich in many other natural resources. Therefore, it will always have enough to stay operational and sustain its inhabitants. So, while the world breaks out in chaos, you could be suntanning or exploring the island until the sun goes down. Either way, be sure to slap on enough sunscreen. With that done, the only problem you will have is you will be so much isolated from the war that you won't be able to tell who is winning, or even if the war has come to an end. That is because, during wars, countries target satellites to cut down enemy transmissions. This means no internet and no calls. You would have to wait until someone physically came to the island to tell you about the war. So, if you prefer white sand beaches, fish dinners and sipping the legendary Fiji Kava drink with a fish pole to being up to date on nuclear war, then Fiji is that place to be. But if beaches and seasickness is not your thing, then you should consider moving just 2,600 miles away to New Zealand. Although New Zealand is 1,000 miles shy of Australia, it is still one of the safest places to be in the event of a global fallout. Aside from the fact that there are many more abundant resources in New Zealand than there are other islands, there's no strategic significance in nuking the island, unless some of these other countries have a vengeful hate for dairy products. The UK, United Arab Emirates and China import billions of dairies from New Zealand, so nuking the isolated island that poses no threat and generates a lot of revenue for your economy would seem like a stupid idea. Even if the war got to the country, the nation has many landscapes that would provide protection. Around 30% of New Zealand is protected by land, which means there are lots of areas where you could hide out and still have access to the basic resources needed for survival. There are a lot of benefits to living in New Zealand, even when the world is not breaking apart. There are fertile lands, abundant resources, developed infrastructures, and a lot of things to do to keep yourself busy while you wait out the war. Also, the country has been working on becoming self-sufficient for decades. With that said, it's no surprise that it made it to the list of the top 10 happiest countries to live in. So, if you're looking for a safe country that has an abundance of resources with an amazing landscape and, of course, if sheep are your favourite animals, then New Zealand is your answer. A lot of people might not like New Zealand's idea so much because of the thinning of the ozone layer over the South Pole, which might cause skin cancer. In that case, you might want to check out Malta. Malta was once used as a military fortress during the Crusades, and throughout its history, many nations have tried and failed to capture Malta. Malta is a tiny island nation in the Mediterranean Sea. It would be a safe place to wait out the war for a couple of reasons. Malta no longer holds a strategic advantage in the Med, meaning that no country would bother invading it or nuking it. It is simply a waste of war resources. The nation of Malta is about 122 square miles, and they import almost everything. But hey, this could be a good thing because it generally makes it uninteresting and useless even to enemy nations, thus making it a good spot to hide. Also, around the island you could find several fortresses built by the Hospitallers and Knights Templars during the Crusades. This could be used in the event of an attack as a temporary shelter while plans are made to move to safer lands. Malta has been able to withstand a lot of invasions in the past, and it might just be able to do it again. I know Malta might not sound so convincing, but what about South America? South America is one place that is often overlooked in the apocalypse of nuclear fallout. Should World War III happen, it would likely be fought in the North Hemisphere. The most probable scenario would be World War III starting in Europe or Asia. It might not get to North America until later, so it might take some time before countries near the US become potential targets. However, here, South America is far from the US and any other world heads that would be involved in a war, making it an ideal place to go while you hope that things get better. And the safest country to be on this continent is Chile. Chile is located in the southernmost part of South America. Like other countries we've mentioned before, the country is richly endowed with a lot of natural resources and interesting geography. As one of the most developed nations in South America, Chile has the necessary infrastructure to sustain its inhabitants should countries decide to take it out on each other one day. You could decide to stay in Andes Mountain, which is located in the western part of the country. It is blessed with fertile lands which can be used to grow crops and an abundance of fresh water, making it a perfect hideout. The mountains, of course, offer protection against enemy countries. Or you could choose to go to the southern part of the country, which is Antarctica. It's very unlikely that any part of the world would be fought in the cold Antarctic waters, making it a good place to wait out the war. Although the weather gets harsh and brutally cold sometimes, you get to enjoy the beautiful scenery and live out a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Antarctica is one of the most beautiful places on Earth, and being able to stay there for some time is an experience that not many people get to enjoy. Let's not forget that Chile is the fourth largest exporter of wine, meaning that you could be getting drunk on the green fields while the world breaks down in commotion. So, which of these countries do you prefer the most? Let us know in the comments. If you found this video insightful, please encourage us with a like and hit subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.